Good morning. How y'all doing? How y'all been? This is Self Love Diaries with Aziza again, okay? So, this is a place where I talk about self love, things that I have personally gone through, how I think I should deal with it, or how I have dealt with it, what emotions I'm going through. But a lot of times I also talk about things that's going on in society and how I view them and different things. Um, Today is not necessarily about self. Today is about learning from others' mistakes sometimes. Um, and possibly seeing how you can use that advice or what they're going through to work through some things in your own world. Now, yes, this may sound a lot like gossip, but I personally feel like you can learn something from watching other people's blunders. Now, I want to call this the lies we tell and the secrets we keep. Sometimes you can build your life around this lie, whether it's you are an adopted child and nobody told you, right? So the whole family is like shifting and moving around this lie. And a lot of times, the person who stands up and says, I don't feel like shape shifting anymore. I don't want to jump through these hurdles and hoops and putting on this facade anymore, is looked at as the villain. But I just want to tell y'all quickly as possible, what I see or what I have seen over the years and why I don't look at Jada as a villain. And it has nothing to do with her womanhood, okay? It has nothing to do with the fact that her ethnicity, okay? It has nothing to do with any of those things. This is just human to human relations, okay? Or maybe a relation is not the word, but we are human and we got to stop victimizing people when we already know the story pretty much, okay? But this story is just a lot more deeper than Will, Jada, and Tupac. Okay, so this is the way I see it. You have four people in this mess. You got Quincy Jones, Will, Jada, and Tupac. Okay, now check this out. I'm going to take you through history right quick. And I know that the people around and in my age group, you remember. So I'm going to start off with a documentary that I seen. And it was about 6 to 7 years ago. Quincy Jones had put together a documentary on Netflix. And it was quite interesting. Now, the thing that stands out, I mean, like the whole thing was interesting about his life and, you know, just things that I never knew and yada, yada, yada. But I want to pull something out of there to make you see something else, okay? So we're not going to get into that. So what bothered me about his documentary was that when he was younger, he had children by 2 or 3 different women. Not that that's a big deal, right? But as a Pisces man, what was baffling to me is that he never really found creative ways to keep his flame at home burning, even though he was out on the road and doing different things, right? But usually Pisces are pretty creative. Like, they're going to figure out how, if they're interested in the situation, how to keep something burning, if that's what they want. But the way he talked about these women, it was like he had a love for them due to the fact that they were his children's mothers. But he didn't really romanticize the stories at points where it should have been romanticized some. And from one marriage to another, you kind of try to tweak something unless there's something else going on. But we ain't going to get all the way into that. Now, let's move forward. So they moved it forward to his then life. You know, he was much older, walking around talking this, that, and the other. And he kept running into these celebrities at different places. And most of the time, they were men. I want to say 90% of the people that he spoke with on this documentary was men. Not a big issue. Yet, a lot of these men, he had like that SpongeBob to a Squidward gaze in his eye, like, my baby. And he kept having this squeak of pure excitement when he seen these fellas. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, I'm not against anybody's lifestyles. I really feel like that's for God to judge. And I'm going to stay out of there. I'm going to let God do his thing. Whatever happens with everybody is going to happen, right? But I started to say, this seems like a unhealthy attachment to your friends, male friends. Is it? And then I asked myself in the back of my mind, not to anybody else, but I said to myself, is this the reason why he never really put that much effort into his relationship, because he was fighting something going on, you know, up inside? Okay, now let's move on. Quincy also put Will on very early in age. They teamed up on the Fresh Prince show. Okay, so he was his mentor, this and that. He probably taught him a lot about the business, and it was a beautiful thing. He was a rising star. Okay, then you have Jada Pinkett, not Jada Pinkett Smith. Let's remember, she was also a rising star. Okay, at one point, Will got out of a relationship with I'm not going to call her a nobody, but she wasn't famous. She was just Will's wife at one point. So when Jada came into the midst, he had already had a child, this and that, but she was a rising star as well. Let's not forget that she was on a different world. She had teamed up with the Wayans brother, Kenan, and did Low Down Dirty Shame. She was climbing the ranks just like he was. He was a little bit over her because of who was his mentor. But they was both like, as far as, you know, forget the gender, right? And then you have Tupac, which is also Jada's friend from the neighborhood, whatever their background is, who cares, okay? Let's just talk about this. So he's also a rising star. Everything that Tupac did only happened in a 6-year span. 6 years. So that means that he was on his way somewhere when he got killed, okay? So these are 3 rising stars. Before Tupac passed, he said in a video, and I'm sure more than just myself has seen it. It was a grainy video, but a lot of videos were grainy back then. He said that, and he was alluding to, should I say, that Mr. Q was trying to get him to do some form of sexual activity. I know what I seen, I know what I heard. Okay, I'm not gonna get off into verbatim what was said on that tape, but it was circulating just like R. Kelly's sex tape was circulating at one point. So I'm sure somebody have seen it. Okay. So, with that being said, just recently, in the recent years, DeAndre, I forget the boy's last name, but he was just playing on Snowfall as the crazy dude, Snooki or Shook. I don't know what the man's name is. He also played in that I think it was a Master P film back in the day and got raped in the bathroom. DeAndre something. If you want to know what it Bonds, I think that's his name. DeAndre Bonds. That's it. Anyway, this young man did a Vlad interview where he was talking about Tupac briefly. And he quickly said in this interview that Tupac was actually up, because you remember Tupac did Juice, and he was working his way on both sides, the music and the movies, right? So he said that he was actually the one that was in line for Independence Day. And when he died, all of a sudden, Will got slipped into that role, which I thought was totally fascinating. What would that movie have been like if it was Tupac and not Will? Anywho, so if that's the truth, that's something to be said. However, let's keep going. So if this young man, which he was also at the time, let's not forget, that Tupac was engaged to Mr. Q, his daughter, back then. And he on his way up. And you know about all the little stuff that they've been talking about that's been coming out in the wood. Little freaky deaky things. So is it possible that this young man's mentor got him off into some other things? Now, if he's off into some other things and then he marries this young woman, put a pin in that. Now, they had 2 table talks, red table talks, where they were sitting down discussing their relationship in front of the world. I watched because I was curious too. I remember one of the first one, I believe it was, where she was talking about how depressed she was at one point, and she really couldn't pull herself out of this depression. But they, kind of glossed over it because the daughter and the grandmother was there, and Will was sitting there. I think that's the one when he may have for a moment looked like he was about to cry or something. I can't remember. But anyway, his response was, yeah, and I was trying to do everything to make you feel better, and I had this house being built, and I threw you this big lavish party. And Jada was saying, yeah, and I appreciated all of it, but that's your style of a party. I like things a little more intimate. You like things big and lavish. And when you built this house, you didn't include me in the whereabouts, the howabouts, it was a surprise, so I was just kind of placed here, is what she was saying. And, let's break it down and just put it in a nice, neat bow. And let's pack all of that together. You have people who, yes, they are in some form of stardom, but their personalities are completely different. One likes things a little bit more lavish. One is a little bit more of a homebody and want things to be quiet and quaint. One may be having other things going on. Now, when I say this, let's not act like we don't remember the movie that he made when everybody was talking and possibly wondering about wondering. Then let's talk about how he consistently was trying to kiss his baby in the mouth on national TV, Jaden, and how uncomfortable the little boy was at one point about getting kissed in the mouth by his daddy on TV. Go look it up. It's plenty of them. Game shows, interviews, different things where he have tried to kiss the baby in the mouth. So if you're openly and willingly kissing your baby in the mouth in public on TV, and he's a male, I'm just saying, okay? So if you got all of that going on the flip side of that story, think about the person. Let's not make it male, female, but the person who is attached to this situation. You marry someone, and in your mind, you think it's going to be going down this road. That is just me and you, babe. But this person has a cheating problem. And it's not just something that they can cure. It's something that this is a lifestyle. That this is an attraction. This is something that I can't give you. So now I am married to someone who has a different lifestyle that they refuse to give up, and I am in a bird cage, a beautiful bird cage. Why do I call it a bird cage? Because with a bird cage, when you walk around it, you can see this bird from all angles, all sides. If she step out the house to get a newspaper, people are taking pictures. So do you think that if she kissed the gardener out in the garden, that she wouldn't have got, unfortunately, which I don't think she should have did, is, he was a handsome young man, but that was your son's friend. Let's start there. But not only that, we also know, because there was whispers years ago that they were staying on separate sides of the, he had a wing on one side of the house, she had a wing on the other side of the house. They were supposed to have been swingers and all kind of stuff. A lot of times, swingers swing in both ways. The swing don't just go in one direction. It has to come back this way and that way. Okay? So if there's, what do you expect is going on? How did you get in this situation? And how do you get out of this situation? And if you are America's sweethearts, of course you made a pact with each other to never divorce, because you don't want your secret out. That would taint people's images. She was his beard. What is a beard? When go look it up in a dictionary. But if a woman is a man's beard, what is a beard? What's a regular beard? Something that covers your face. It don't show everything. So if a woman is a man's beard, that means that he just has her there pretty much for a prop. So nobody knows what his real life is like. Can you imagine getting roped into a situation where, because at that time back in the day, it was not like an open thing like it is now. That was very hidden. So if this was very hidden, when you walk down the aisle, do you know the devastation once you finally find out? You're now in the sunken place. Stop beating this girl up because she's tired of living in the land of lies and fairy tales and fuckery. Have a good day.